there is, so that everybody's afraid to leave the U.S. so that, but
And I was trying to say that
they know that they're coming back with this form.
Yeah. I should say, provided there are no other grounds of inadmissibility. You have to come clean with your immigration lawyer. We're going to accept calls?
Yes.
Yep.
But who's going to call?
Viewers, if it's a live show, then viewers sometimes if they find that, oh, I can ask some question, just go on.
Oh, interesting. Uh-oh.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਦੋਸਤੋ, ਜਸਟ ਲਾਈਵ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਭੁਪਿੰਦਰ ਅਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਸ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ। ਦੋਸਤੋ, ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਦੀ ਨਾ ਕਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ। That problem is actually related to laws, and as immigrants from some other country in US, we face this issue once at least, and sometimes even more than once. The issue is immigration. Well, to talk about immigration, we have in our studio very well-known lawyers from a very well-known firm, Bretz Coven, LLP. So let's meet them. We have Kerry. How are you doing today?
Doing very good. Thanks for having us, BK.
And we have Eileen. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Very well, thank you.
So let's talk about immigration, and first about the firm. It's Bretz Coven, and how long have you guys been doing immigration laws?
It feels like a whole lifetime, but it's about 20 years.
Oh.
Eileen, I think, was admitted in '95. I've been doing it since '91. I was a lawyer for the Immigration Service years ago, and we've been around for quite a while.
So being a lawyer for immigration services themselves, you know a lot that goes behind the scenario, if we say, as media, behind the scenes that we don't know.
Oh, no doubt. It was a good education coming out of law school to work for the government, and I learned a lot, although that seems like a long time ago.
So if I talk about just what are your specialties in immigrations?
Well, my particular specialty is complicated cases, deportation cases, cases that involve immigration fraud, or people with criminal history trying to avoid deportation or getting a green card. and waivers. I would like to see some easy cases, but I rarely do. We do mostly complicated cases, and mostly cases that are referred to us from other lawyers, other immigration lawyers.
And what about you, Eileen?
I handle a lot of family-based cases, employment-based, investor visas. I do some deportation cases, and then those off the beaten path, U visas, VAWA cases, and the like.
So, as a firm, apart from these, do you deal with other parts of the law, not just immigration, but other legal affairs as
We
well?
really don't. We are exclusively or almost exclusively immigration. A lot of clients come to us to do their will, to do their estate, to do their house closing, to do their divorce, and we will accommodate them, but our specialty, our concentration is immigration, and we're really designed to do that. We 15 languages in the office, including Hindi and Punjabi, so we're really set up to do that. But some clients insist, you got me my green card, you got my family my green card, would you please do a house closing or something like that? So we do it, but as an accommodation to existing clients.
Definitely. So, having expertise in just immigration laws, we have lawyers in our studios today, Kerry and Eileen. If you have any questions regarding immigration, you can definitely call us on the live show number. Phone number is 718-786-5222. Keep calling. Until then, I'll keep asking my questions. And let's talk about just, as you say, immigration. Let's go to Washington, D.C. for a while. There were lots of hype about the new immigration reforms that were coming, passed through Senate, but not going anywhere in the House, and now the government shut down. Where are we going with all this?
Great question. I don't think comprehensive immigration reform is dead just yet. Earlier this year, the Senate did pass a very comprehensive bill that had enforcement provisions as well as some great provisions for people who have been in the U.S. for many years. Particularly if you were here as of December 2011, under the Senate bill, you would be able to get a work authorization, travel permission right away, and many years later, a green card, a path to citizenship, as they call it. It also has a number of enforcement provisions that increase penalties for immigration fraud and that type of thing. Where it is now, it's a little stuck in the House. We don't know if we can get the government back up and running again. But some very bold Democrats just last week introduced a bill in the House, an immigration bill. And so I think there is a number of people that are trying to keep it alive. In the meantime, the Obama administration has done a number of things starting earlier this year to basically exercise prosecutorial discretion. While they are deporting record numbers of people, 400,000 a year, they are not deporting elderly people. They are not deporting single parents. They're not deporting children. They're not deporting people that don't have a criminal history. They're concentrating on threats to the community, sexual predators, gang members, violent felons. So that idea of prosecutorial discretion is very good. We have a number of clients with final orders of deportation, but they haven't been deported. They've been granted a stay of deportation or deferred action. Obama last year said, listen, children who came to the U.S. before they were 16, went to high school here, I'm going to give them a work authorization. That's called DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. And then we have a big group of people who came here illegally, have a way of getting a green card through marriage to a citizen, but would have to leave the U.S. to get it. And the day they leave, they have a 10-year bar before they could come back. And there's a waiver of that, but nobody wants to leave and wait 3 or 4 years to see if a waiver comes through. So earlier this year, Obama did what with provisional waivers?
Obama had passed a law that allowed U.S. citizens to petition for their parents or for their spouses and allowed them to then get their green card while they can't get it in the United States, still apply for it so that they could pick it up at the consulate. This process, known as the provisional waiver, requires that they be petitioned for, have it approved, and then they can go ahead and file the waiver while everybody stays in the United States, the same as they were before they filed the application. Once it's approved, which they've been generous on approving, and they've been pretty quick about approving it, then they can go ahead and attend the interview at the consulate. They can only do this if they are not inadmissible for any other reason. This is only available to people who are inadmissible for unlawful presence only. So people shouldn't just go ahead and apply for it. They should really consult with a lawyer, make sure that they qualify, and then they're not putting themselves in harm's way when they do attend the interview at the consulate. The prize at the end is they get to come home to the United States with a green card.
That's actually very great. And if my viewers, whoever is watching us, if you have any questions regarding immigration, you can definitely call us. मैं act करांगी as your translator कि ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਾਂਗੀ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਨਸਰਸ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੱਸਾਂਗੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ 7187865222 Before going further, let's take our first call. Hello.
ਹੈਲੋ
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਡਿਪੋਰਟ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਜਸਟ ਇਨ ਐਡਮਿਨਿਸਟ੍ਰੇਟਿਵ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਤੇ ਦੇ ਸੇ ਦੇਰ ਨੋ ਟਾਈਮ ਫਰੇਮ and I would like to ask them if the case is in administrative processing and they kept the passport almost 7 months now.
So the wife was deported and they say now the case is an administrative process back in India.
Yeah, we had we did the waiver, everything, and but now she had the interview after the waiver got approved over here in the United States, and we had an interview and they kept the passport. They said we do administrative processing as soon as it's done, and
It is an administrative
then
processing.
we will contact you. It's over 7 months now, so I would like to ask, that is there any definite time for the administrative processing in New Delhi, or that they can take forever?
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the I-130 was approved, the provisional waiver was approved, you paid the fee
Yes.
at the National Visa Center, and the case has been transferred to New Delhi?
Delhi, yeah. We had an
Right.
interview in New Delhi too on April 9th.
I would
this
think
year.
no more than 4 to 6 months. Once it's at the consulate, once the case gets transferred, that's probably the time frame.
Yeah, and now we do inquiry through Congress and Senator. They're just saying there's no time frame as soon as administrative processing is done, and we will contact you. My question is, it takes a year, or that's I'm actually frustrating.
No,
I go through Senator and Congressman, and we get the same answer. from them.
I understand the question. The question is how long this might take. And first of all, the program started in March of this year. And for people who had I-130s approved, which is the first step, and then filed the provisional waiver on the day it started in March, these waivers were approved already in June and July, and the case is transferred to the consulate. So it's just now that people are starting to come back. Depending upon the consulate, once the case gets there, it should be like 4 to 6 months. If there's a lot of cases there, it could take a little bit longer. But it seems to me that he's right on track in terms of the fact that the waiver was approved. They're just waiting for the date at the consulate, and the wife is waiting here, right?
Well, they're not on the call
Okay.
anymore. So I have a question. I was just thinking, like, okay, so in US there is it's a very monogamous society, and you can, if you're married once, the second marriage is not, if you're not divorced for the first time, it's not legal. But there are some religions in India that allow polygamy. So if somebody is married to, let's say, 2 or 3 wives, what is the procedure of bringing them all here?
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No.
Actually, under U.S. law, if you are married and you have a subsequent marriage without being divorced, that subsequent marriage is void ab initio, which is a Latin term which basically means it's void right from the beginning. So someone who has got 3 wives or 4 wives, and this would be normally Muslim religion,
Muslims
right?
community, yes.
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to petition only for the first wife.
And
Because I don't think immigration is going to recognize the marriages to anybody else.
Yeah, in
Okay.
fact, immigration on the application asks about polygamy because it's against the law in the United States and it's recognized federally as a crime. So
Or
if
ground of
you are,
inadmissibility, right?
and it is a ground of inadmissibility. So you would not be able to get a green card if you are
A polygamist.
a polygamist.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we'll take the next call. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. You can ask your question. ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ
ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੀ ਵੋਲਿਊਮ ਘੱਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਾ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਜੁਲਾਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ 2 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਤਾ ਸੀ, then ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੇਸ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਤਾ, ਪਰ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਪੇਪਰ ਵਰਕ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਂਡ ਕਰਤਾ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਸ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋਰ ਵੇਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਊਗਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਵਾਸਤੇ।
Ji. So she is saying that she became a US citizen in July, but 2 years back she has filed a petition for her husband. So how much time or what options do she have?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a good one for Eileen.
Well, when she filed the petition 2 years ago, she was a lawful permanent resident. At the time that she became a citizen, she can convert that visa petition now as the spouse of a U.S. citizen, which means it's immediate. So she really shouldn't have to wait at all. It depends on where he is, but if he's in the United States, she could file the green card application immediately. If he's abroad and she needs to do the visa, the consular processing, then we would need to notify the National Visa Center that she's a citizen and that they want to continue on with the processing as an immediate relative.
ਜੀ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਸਬੰਡ ਇੱਥੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਯੂਐਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਨੇ?
ਉਹ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਨੇ। ਹਾਂਜੀ ਮੈਂ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਮੈਂ ਯੂਐਸ ਤੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੇ।
ਜੀ so her husband is in India right now.
Right.
So
she needs to upgrade that visa petition to indicate that she's a U.S. citizen, and then it's immediate, and immediate
ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਜਦ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਗ੍ਰੀਨ ਕਾਰਡ ਤੇ ਸੀ, then ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਜੁਲਾਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿਟੀਜ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੁਣ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੇਸ ਅਪਡੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਪੇਪਰ ਵਰਕ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹਾਂ।
So she has already upgraded for it.
ਕਿੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੱਗੇਗਾ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਲਈ?
So she's already upgraded everything and she's asking how much time will it take for the interview?
Yeah, once the National Visa Center sends it to either New Delhi or I still say Bombay, but once they send it abroad, it should be no more than 6 months.
Okay.
If it's 8 months, don't get upset. If it's 4, beautiful.
Yeah, each consulate, it depends on the influx of applications. Some could be interviewed within a month, and some could take 12 months or more.
So as soon as ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੇਸ ਉਹ ਐਮਬੈਸੀ ਕੋਲ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਾ within 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟਸ ਆਉਣ ਦੇ ਚਾਂਸਸ ਨੇ। 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਅੰਦਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਦੀ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਆ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ। So polygamy has been covered so far. So if somebody is already in the removal proceedings, what options do they have that they can avail to avoid getting deported?
Well, that's a great question. It really depends upon what they're in proceedings for. So a simple case where somebody basically is out of status, they entered without inspection, they don't have a criminal history. If they have been here for 10 years and they can show they're a person of good moral character, and they can show that either a parent, a spouse, or a child who's a citizen or a resident would suffer an extreme hardship, they have the defense of cancellation of removal. And what you get with this is a green card. But these cases as a defense to deportation take several years, 3 to 4 years right now in New York. Fortunately, they can get a work authorization while that is pending. So that's good news. If the person, on the other hand, is in removal proceedings because they have a green card and have some kind of criminal history, well, then this becomes a little bit more complicated. Depending upon the criminal history, depending upon how long they were here, they may also be eligible for what is also called cancellation of removal to be able to keep their green card. And in cases like that where they're eligible, a judge would look at their whole life and balance the good things in their life against the bad. So the bad would be the criminal history. The good would be how long they've been here, especially if they came at a young age, what family they have here, hardship to their family, efforts at rehabilitation, and work history. Uncomfortable cases because your whole life is underneath a microscope. But very often the scenario is they got a green card when they were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, and they didn't naturalize. When they were 22 or 23, they got arrested for marijuana possession, cocaine possession, stealing a car, or something like that, and now they're facing deportation after having grown up their whole life here. And so the key to those cases is to strategize the immigration case while you're still doing the criminal case. You need to bring an immigration lawyer on because sometimes a very minor criminal case will make you ineligible to stay here, and sometimes a very serious criminal case, there'll be a waiver available. It's not very logical and doesn't make a lot of sense. But we do a lot of those cases in the office, and they come up an awful lot when families came here 20 years ago. They all got asylum, they all got a green card through an uncle, and really one of them one of the brothers and sisters forgot to naturalize. And then it's not hard to get in trouble in New York if you're a young man, and when they get in trouble they have to face a deportation case.
ਡੈਫੀਨਿਟਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਐਂਡ ਇਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਨਸਰਸ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਸਲਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੰਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਟੂ ਬ੍ਰੈਥਸ ਐਂਡ ਕੋਵਨ LLP ਇਹ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਬਾਨ ਵੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਸਲਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੇਸਿਸ ਕਰਵਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੱਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਮਗਰ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਸਮਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣੇ ਗਏ ਤੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਆਏ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਓ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਜਸ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਭੁਪਿੰਦਰ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜਸ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਜਸ ਲਾਈਵ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੈਟਸ ਕੋਵਨ ਦੇ ਲਾਇਰਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੇਨ ਲਾਇਰਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ, ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਕੈਰੀ ਐਂਡ ਆਈਲੀਨ ਵਿਦ ਮੀ ਤੇ I was about to speak in Punjabi with you. So I have a scenario, at least. So I have a scenario. If somebody came here on a student visa and then they got it converted into H1 and started working, but the company was shut down. Went back to India, came back again, got married, but this person is not legally in US anymore. What options do they have now?
A lot of it depends on the timing. So as Kerry mentioned before, if they're here more than 10 years and they're married to a citizen, and you could potentially get them placed into proceedings and request cancellation of removal. Or you could look at the option for the provisional waiver to see if the only ground of inadmissibility is how they entered the United States. Well, then they can go ahead and do the provisional waiver, file an I-130 and go back to India to pick up their visa.
That's great to know. And there's one visa that Kerry was pressing me even before the show to talk about all the time because it's his favorite visa, and that is U.
I love the U visa. That's
So
correct.
we would like to know more about U visa.
Well, the U visa is great. The U visa is available for victims of violent crimes. And there's a long list of the type of crimes, but typically what we see are people who are victims of assault, robbery, domestic violence. And it requires that the person reported it to the police. The police believed that they were credible and that they cooperated with the police. What's so nice about the U visa is that if you get it, it's permission to work in the U.S. for up to 4 years, but after 3 years you can apply for a green card. But it trumps everything. If you were deported and you came back to the U.S. illegally, you can get the U visa. If you were deported for a controlled substance violation and you came back to the U.S. illegally, you can get a U visa. If you committed marriage fraud, asylum fraud, the U visa essentially is available except if you were a terrorist. So everything, you could have the worst case in the world. If you were a victim of a crime, you can get this visa and eventually a green card. If you're over 21, it includes your kids and it includes your spouse. If you're under 21, it not only includes your parents, but includes your brothers and sisters. So this is an amazing visa that most people don't know exists. It fixes everything. I am not suggesting someone should go out and become a victim of a crime. But if you were, or if you become one, you need to report it, and the police believe you need to be credible to the police. There's no statute of limitations. If this happened to you in 1995 and you've been trying to figure out what to do on your immigration status, go get a copy of that police report, come see me, and chances are we can get you that U visa. So yes, I like the U visa. I love it.
Yes, so ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੈਰੀ ਜੀ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਯੂ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਵਾਇਲੈਂਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦੇ ਵਿਕਟਿਮ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਲਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨੂੰ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰਸ, ਸਿਸਟਰਸ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਤੱਕ ਵੀ, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਯੂ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਦੀ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਡਜ਼ਨਟ ਮੈਟਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੀ ਲੀਗਲ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕੀ ਸੀਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕੀਤਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਉਸ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਦੀ ਕਾਪੀ ਹੈ, ਨਾਲ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਆਪਰੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਤੇ ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਲਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਯੂ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਮਿਲ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। On that note, we will have to end today's segment. Thank you so much for being in our studio and telling us so
thank
much.
You for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
And thanks a lot for watching us. Keep watching Just Punjabi. Sat Shri Akal.